Hello, my restless titans. You already feel it, don't you? That strange vibration under your skin, that invisible tremor crawling through your veins, as if the entire globe has shifted its orbit just to align with your presence. Planet Earth itself is quaking, not from tectonic plates colliding, not from the hollow rumble of disasters, but because your name refuses to stop echoing. Your name has transformed into something far more dangerous than mere syllables. It has become a contagion, a phenomenon, a virus of identity spreading through continents like wildfire. Humanity doesn't whisper it anymore. They scream it, they curse it, they fear it, they crave it. And in the chaos of that noise, the most fascinating truth is revealed. You didn't chase the world's attention. The world bent at the knee and chased you. Do you realize what you've done? You've altered the bloodstream of culture itself. Every conversation is infected with your presence. Every headline trembles under the weight of your shadow. They can't speak without circling back to you. They can't breathe without inhaling traces of your reputation. You're no longer a person. You've mutated into a force. Nations write laws trying to regulate you. Schools whisper warnings to protect children from becoming like you. Corporations tremble because their markets rise and fall based on your actions. And yet, no matter how much they try to package you, to cage you, to stamp you into submission, you slip through their fingers and infect another million minds overnight. This is not popularity. This is dominance disguised as infamy. This is chaos disguised as destiny. This is the art of weaponizing your very existence. But let's dissect this further, because I want you to understand the anatomy of your impact. When your name is mentioned, it doesn't land like ordinary sound. It detonates. It ruptures the calm they pretend to hold on to. The ones who hate you grind their teeth with helpless obsession. The ones who love you tattoo your identity into their skin, desperate to belong to your uprising. And the ones who pretend indifference, they betray themselves with twitching pupils, with subtle cracks in their tone, with the quiet panic of someone who can't stop thinking about you, no matter how hard they try. Your name is a mirror shoved into the faces of the world, forcing them to see what they can never become and what they secretly desire to be. That is why it spreads, because they can't kill what is already part of their bloodstream. Because in mocking you, they multiply you. In hating you, they preserve you. In resisting you, they kneel before you. And isn't it beautiful, the way chaos blossoms around you like an exotic flower? Think about it. The economy shakes, markets shift, celebrities copy you, governments panic, philosophers scramble to explain you, preachers warn against you, and through it all, the one undeniable fact remains that you are untouchable. That's the kind of power that rewrites history. The planet doesn't quake for ordinary people. The planet quakes for phenomena, for ruptures in the timeline, for living catastrophes that carry within them the weight of legend. That's what you are now. A living legend disguised as a threat. A walking contradiction who forces the world to confront the terrifying truth that you cannot be ignored. Do you know why your name spreads so uncontrollably? Because the world is addicted to extremes. Mediocrity suffocates them. Ordinary faces rot in their memories before they even turn away. But you carved yourself into their subconscious with brutality and precision. You made yourself unforgettable, and in doing so, you robbed them of their most precious freedom, the freedom to look away. They don't have that option anymore. Even in their sleep, your presence stalks them. Even in their quietest moments, Your reputation drips from the ceiling like water torture. They might not admit it, but you're the parasite feeding on their peace, the monster lurking in their collective imagination, the unavoidable itch they can't scratch away. And here's the dark humor in it all. The same ones who once underestimated you are now prisoners of your myth. They thought you would fade, that your noise would dissolve like all the other passing trends. But trends burn out because they rely on novelty. You, however, rely on something far more devastating. You rely on inevitability. Every day, someone new discovers your name, repeats it, spreads it, feeds it. And with each repetition, your reach mutates like an unstoppable contagion. You've become a self-sustaining machine of chaos, requiring no defense, no campaign, no effort. You exist, and the world amplifies you for free. Imagine the cruelty of that irony. Your enemies advertise you better than your allies ever could. They spend their resources trying to bury you, and yet their digging only builds you monuments in every corner of the earth. But there's something deeper happening here, something that most of them are too blind to comprehend. Your rise has revealed something rotten about this world. It has exposed the fragility of their structures, the hollowness of their idols, the weakness of their heroes. Because when your name enters the conversation, all their carefully built illusions collapse. You've turned their idols into background noise, their authorities into jokes, their sacred untouchables into trembling caricatures. You've humiliated their belief systems without even trying. Do you see it now? You're not just spreading, you're dismantling. You're not just feared, you're corrosive. You're the acid poured over their paper-thin walls, and they can't rebuild fast enough before you destroy them again. That's why they're afraid, not because of what you've done, but because of what you represent. You represent the death of control. You represent the proof that no matter how many rules, chains, and cages they construct, someone will always slip through and rewrite the script. And you didn't just slip through. You kicked the door off its hinges, burned the blueprint, and made the entire planet witness it. Now everyone is forced to live in your shadow, whether they like it or not. That's why your name has become chaos itself, because it is no longer under anyone's control, not even yours. You've created something bigger than yourself. You've birthed a global wildfire that laughs at the idea of containment. And tell me, Titan, doesn't that make you wonder what comes next? If the world is already shaking, what happens when you decide to push harder? If your name is already on everyone's lips, what happens when you weaponize it further? If the planet itself trembles from your presence, what happens when you shift from being a phenomenon into being an empire? Think carefully, because you've already crossed the line of no return. You can't step back into obscurity. You can't undo the chaos. The only choice left is whether you exploit it or let it consume you. And knowing you, the predator of attention, the ruler of psychological war, you won't let it consume you. You'll sharpen it, you'll polish it, you'll turn the chaos into your throne. That's why the future is terrifying, for them, not for you. Because this is only the beginning. Right now, they still think they can manage you, contain you, outlast you. But they're wrong. They don't realize that their very act of resistance is your fuel. They don't understand that the more they attack, the more they spread you. The more they fear you, the more they advertise you. The more they try to silence you, the louder you roar in the mouths of millions. It's not a fight they can win, because every move they make is a trap you've set for them. And here's the cruelest twist. The planet is watching, and the planet loves a spectacle. The more chaotic it gets, the more they can't stop looking. You've turned global attention into your personal hostage, and now the ransom is their sanity. So listen again to the quaking beneath your feet. That isn't the earth collapsing. It's the sound of your influence expanding. That isn't destruction, it's rebirth. The old world is crumbling under the weight of your presence, and a new order is forming in the cracks. Your name is the anthem of that order, the chant echoing in every corner, the wildfire that consumes every boundary. This is the era of you, carved into the marrow of humanity. And as they scramble, panic, and choke on their denial, one terrifying truth becomes undeniable. The shaking has only just begun. No, forget that. That's too neat, too convenient. What's happening isn't a beginning. Beginnings are calm, ceremonial, celebrated with confetti and speeches. This question mark. This is collapse, masquerading as noise. The ground isn't trembling to announce you. It's trembling because it cannot bear the weight of you. Understand the difference. Earthquakes don't ask permission. They don't start politely. They rupture, they fracture, they tear, until nothing stands straight again. That's what your name is doing to the world right now. It's bending every structure into unnatural shapes, warping every conversation into your silhouette, cracking the foundations of everything they thought was stable. The funny part, they still think this is temporary. They believe if they wait long enough, your echo will fade. Poor souls. They don't realize they're not hearing an echo. They're hearing resonance. Resonance doesn't fade. It grows stronger. It picks up vibrations. It multiplies until the entire chamber shakes itself apart. Your name is resonance, and Earth itself has become the chamber. Look at the evidence. Markets dip, not because of numbers, but because of whispers. Leaders lose elections, not because of opponents, but because they couldn't survive a single question tied to your reputation. Cities graffiti you onto concrete walls. Farmers argue about you in fields, and in dimly lit bedrooms across the globe, strangers type your name into search bars with trembling fingers, hungry for more. Tell me, when the entire planet reorients its pulse around one name, does that sound like a passing phase, or does that sound like possession? Possession is the word. You don't belong to them, yet they carry you. They don't want you, yet they breathe you. They can't resist you, yet they can't escape you. That is why the world shakes, not because of chaos, but because of inevitability. The earth is trembling like a body in fever, fighting an infection it secretly needs to survive. And here's the real cruelty. They hate you, but they also envy you. They envy the fact that while they live and die forgotten, your name is unkillable. They envy the fact that while they beg for relevance, you choke the atmosphere with it. They envy the fact that while they clutch their identities like fragile glass, yours has hardened into iron and spread like wildfire. That envy eats at them more than the fear. The fear shakes them, the envy poisons them. And both together? That's what turns their order into chaos. Watch closely. Every debate now collapses into your orbit. Families fight at dinner tables. Governments argue in parliaments. Activists scream in streets. Journalists foam at the mouth. All because they cannot agree whether to crown you, crucify you, or copy you. But they all agree on one thing. They cannot stop talking about you. And the moment they admit that, they lose. Because in obsession, you've already won. Notice the transformation. It's not even about what you've done anymore. It's about what they imagine you've done. Every rumor they invent carries your signature. Every scandal they manufacture drips with your name. You've transcended action. You've become atmosphere. That's the deadliest kind of dominance, when you no longer need to act because they act for you. You can sit perfectly still, and the earth still quakes like a nervous addict needing another hit of your chaos. And oh, the chaos. How delicious it looks from here. Stock exchanges flicker like nervous eyelids. Streets explode in protest and celebration alike. Entire religions bend sermons around your existence. Even their entertainment feeds off you. Songs reference you. Films parody you. Writers sharpen their pens trying to capture your shadow. They think they're using you. They don't realize they're feeding you. Every attempt to mock you, explain you, or suppress you drips gasoline on the fire. They mistake containment for control, but containment is just amplification in disguise. Do you realize what that means? It means the earth isn't shaking as a warning, it's shaking as applause. You've hijacked its rhythm. Every aftershock is a standing ovation. Every tremor is the sound of billions, unknowingly keeping beat with your legend. And the more they deny you, the harder the applause hits. But here's where the real psychological warfare detonates. You haven't just made yourself unforgettable, you've made everyone else irrelevant. When your name dominates oxygen, no other name survives the atmosphere. Competitors suffocate, rivals choke. Former icons wither into dust because nobody remembers them anymore. They are reduced to footnotes, their existence judged by how close or how far they stand from you. Their worth is measured in your reflection, and when history starts grading everyone based on their proximity to you, then history itself is yours. You've become the axis, not the North Pole, not the South Pole, you. The planet spins, but it spins around your myth. Even gravity is jealous. And every person alive now has two options: orbit you or be erased. Both options serve you. Both options prove you've already rewritten the rules of existence. And yet, the shaking grows stranger. It's not just buildings, not just markets, not just societies. It's their very sense of reality. People wake up in the middle of the night, convinced they heard your name outside their window. Crowds chant you like a prayer, without realizing they're doing it. Their languages bend to accommodate you. Their slang mutates to imitate you. Their jokes collapse into nervous homages. You've crawled inside their neural pathways and rewired them without lifting a finger. That's not fame. That's neurological invasion. That's domination at the level of thought itself. Now here's the paradox. They can't decide whether to kneel or fight. Both are dangerous. Both spread you further. Kneeling cements you as deity. Fighting cements you as demon. But in both roles, your name only grows sharper. So they twist in the middle, torn between worship and resistance. And in that twisting, the earth groans louder. You want to know why the world shakes, Titan? Because they've never faced a paradox they couldn't solve. And now they're trapped in one built entirely out of you. No exit, no resolution, no compromise, only chaos. Your chaos. And you know the scariest part? The shaking doesn't end. Not because it can't, but because they don't want it to. They crave you. They despise you. They depend on you. They need the tremors because it gives them something bigger than their small lives, something louder than their dull routines, something darker than their empty beliefs. They need you the way addicts need poison to feel alive. And so they spread you even as they curse you. They amplify you even as they beg for your silence. They don't want the earth to stop shaking. They want the chaos to swallow them whole, as long as it has your name carved into it. And that, right there, is the punchline. The shaking isn't a warning, and it isn't a phase. It's the world's confession. It's the earth itself saying what humans are too cowardly to admit. That your name is now the loudest sound in existence, and it won't stop until everything else is drowned. So when the ground rips wider, when their voices crack from screaming your identity, when the skies themselves rumble as if mocking their prayers, don't mistake it for destruction. It's coronation, and coronations aren't quiet. Because coronations like yours arrive with earthquakes, not roses, with thunder, not cheers. And this one has no stage, no crown, no scripted speech. This one happens across continents. This one rattles every city from within. This one makes the entire species confront the fact that one single name has outgrown borders, governments, religions, and even time. Your name, the name they tried to bury under silence, now carved into the bones of the earth itself. They once whispered it like a curse. Now it rolls through their throats like fire, uncontainable, uncontrollable. And here's the part that burns them more than the flames licking their foundations. Your name doesn't spread because you force it. No, it spreads because they can't stop talking. Even in hatred, even in fear, even in denial, every syllable they utter amplifies the quake. Every news anchor, every headline, every sermon, every protest, without realizing it, they are all just messengers of your rise. That's why the earth shakes, not from random chaos. No, the earth is shaking because it has too much weight to carry now. The weight of billions of mouths speaking your name at once. The weight of entire systems collapsing under the realization that one human has shifted the balance of the species. The weight of history itself, rearranging its chapters around you. Look around. Can't you see it? Governments calling emergency sessions, not to solve world hunger or stop wars, but to ask, what do we do about this name? Stock markets plunging, not because of recessions or wars, but because traders panic every time your identity appears on screens. Algorithms glitching because every post, every search, every trending chart gets eaten alive by one thing, the unstoppable spread of your existence. And here's the cruel irony. Chaos is no longer a byproduct. It's the main event. The earth doesn't shake politely. It doesn't tremble in small warnings. It fractures with violence. The oceans rise, the skies crack, the land bends. And yet none of these catastrophes terrify them more than the truth that no matter where they run, your name is waiting. In the rubble, in the flood, in the smoke, in the airwaves, everywhere. See, they thought chaos was a storm you weather, a storm that passes. But your chaos is different. It doesn't pass, it multiplies. It doesn't fade, it spreads. Every riot, every scream, every fire is fuel. Every city that collapses under the sound of your name only makes the next city shout louder, like dominoes falling in every corner of the globe, until the map itself isn't nations anymore. It's just one loud scream in unison, your name echoing louder than any anthem, louder than any god. And don't you see the poetry? For centuries they worshipped kings, prophets, celebrities, tyrants. All those names carved into monuments, textbooks, currencies. And yet one earthquake, one global shiver, erased them. Their legacies dissolve like sand, because the ground doesn't shake for them anymore. It shakes for you. The earth is rewriting its language. Mountains groan with your syllables. Rivers carry your rhythm. Volcanoes erupt not with lava, but with sound, echoing the pulse of your rise. Even the animals look closer. Their migrations align with the tremors. The birds scatter in patterns shaped like letters. The wolves howl not at the moon, but as if harmonizing with your name in the wind. This isn't superstition. This is evolution. The planet has chosen a frequency, and it's yours. And humanity? They're losing their minds. Parliaments slam fists on tables, screaming for silence only for microphones to betray them and distort their speeches into echoes of your identity. Priests raise their voices in holy defiance, but their prayers melt mid-sentence into repetitions of you. Children cry your name in their sleep, waking parents who shake them, demanding answers. But how do you stop a name when it's no longer just human sound? How do you stop it when it's woven into tectonic plates, lightning bolts, ocean tides? You can't. And that's what breaks them, because power, in their old world, was about control. Control the land, control the money, control the narrative. But you've shattered that illusion, because this isn't control, it's contagion. And contagion doesn't ask permission. It doesn't obey laws. It doesn't care about censorship. It spreads because it is truth. The raw, unfiltered truth that the world is no longer theirs to define. It belongs to the tremor, to the fire, to the chaos, and at the center of that chaos is you. So here we are, a planet shaking not out of fear, but out of recognition, out of inevitability. Because no species, no system, no empire can resist the gravitational pull of a force like this. And that force isn't bullets, or armies, or propaganda. It's something far more terrifying. Inevitability. The inevitability of your name being repeated until it becomes the only language left. And in that inevitability lies their nightmare. Picture it, skyscrapers crumbling while giant billboards still flicker your face. Villages swallowed by storms where survivors clutch radios, only to hear broadcasts looping your name like a siren. Soldiers deployed across continents, weapons in hand, but unable to aim at anything, because what they're fighting isn't flesh, it's resonance. Every explosion only shakes the ground harder, spelling your name louder. Every bullet is just another drumbeat to your symphony. Chaos has stopped being disorder. It's order of a new kind, a worldwide rhythm, a synchronization that even they can't escape. Imagine billions of heartbeats, billions of footsteps, billions of breaths, all unintentionally aligning with the tempo of your rise. The earth doesn't just shake anymore. It dances. Not the dance of joy, but the dance of inevitability, the dance of coronation. And they hate it. They hate that their own tongues betray them. They hate that silence is impossible. They hate that every time they try to suppress it, they amplify it. They hate that their children, their elders, their enemies, their allies, every single one of them is infected by the same phenomenon. Your name, your echo, your immortality, because that's what this chaos is, immortality. Empires crumble, leaders fall, generations pass, but chaos that lingers. And your chaos isn't fleeting, it's cemented. It's written into fault lines and weather patterns. It's embedded in algorithms and satellites. It's embedded in every scream, every chant, every whispered conversation in the shadows. And let me remind you of something crucial. The earth doesn't shake for villains. It doesn't shake for saints. It shakes for inevitability. It shakes for those who shift the axis of existence itself. And that, my friend, is why you can stand calm in the middle of collapsing towers, burning cities, screaming crowds. Because this isn't destruction. This is the price of coronation. And coronations aren't quiet. So let the ground break. Let the oceans surge. Let the skies split. Let the voices of billions rip their throats raw. Because the louder they scream, the deeper your roots sink, the wider your shadow spreads, the more permanent your legacy becomes. This isn't fame. Fame dies in scandals. This isn't fear. Fear fades with time. This is something far greater. This is chaos written into the DNA of the planet itself. And when the dust settles, when the fires burn out, when the screams turn to whispers, one truth will remain etched into the ruins, etched into the air, etched into every survivor's memory. The world shook because of you. The world cracked because of you. The world never stopped repeating your name. That is the final stage of power, not ruling through armies, not ruling through wealth, but ruling through inevitability, through resonance, through the one thing that even gods envy, being unforgettable. And now, that's you, not a man, not a myth, not even a movement. You are the tremor that won't stop. You are the chaos that rewrites maps. You are the coronation that drowns out every other sound. The planet shakes, and it shakes in your rhythm. Humanity screams, and it screams your name. And that, my friend, is not destruction. That is eternity. Hello, my rarest phenoms of Earth. Listen closely, because this is not an introduction, it's a coronation. The universe just shoved you under the spotlight, and whether you asked for it or not, every eye, every lens, every whisper is now fixed on you. You didn't stumble into this moment by chance. You've been orbiting toward it since the very beginning, and now the collision has happened. You've become the spectacle, the protagonist, the headline everyone didn't know they were waiting for. The Earth is no longer watching politicians, celebrities, or self-proclaimed rulers. It's watching you. And here's the brutal truth. They can't look away, no matter how hard they try. You are the main character of Earth, and nothing terrifies people more than someone who didn't audition for the role, but owned it anyway. They planned for someone else to control the script, to set the stage, to manipulate the applause. But the audience revolted. They didn't want another puppet. They wanted you. And now they are realizing that when you walk into a room, their plans crumble, their spotlights dim, their carefully scripted dialogue sounds cheap compared to the raw chaos you bring. You are the kind of presence that hijacks attention, bends conversations, and reprograms how reality itself is narrated. Do you understand the weight of this? You are not just visible, you're unavoidable. You've become the gravitational center of human psychology. Every decision they make now echoes around you. They scroll, they post, they gossip, they plot, and yet your name, your face, your aura slips into all of it like ink bleeding across paper. The rarest soul alive, captured not by vanity, but by inevitability. You are the diamond buried deep beneath centuries of mediocrity, finally unearthed. And the world is gasping at the shine, because deep down, they know they'll never match it. Think about it. In a population crawling with billions, identical routines repeating every sunrise, predictable lives measured in shallow goals, what are the chances of you? Almost impossible. And yet here you are. That impossibility has become their obsession. You walk, and their necks snap to follow. You speak, and their own thoughts sound hollow. You exist, and they feel irrelevant. The irony? They're addicted to your presence even when it burns them alive. Because to witness rarity is painful, it reminds them of their own mediocrity. And this is where the game becomes psychological warfare. When you become the main character, you don't just live your life, You become the mirror everyone else avoids. They project envy, they project admiration, they project resentment. Some worship you, others fear you. But all are caught in your gravitational pull. They'll mimic your words, your gestures, your choices, not because they want to, but because they can't resist the undertow of your influence. You've become the template. They're NPCs rehearsing their lines around your improvisation. And what terrifies them is that you didn't need permission, votes, or validation to seize this role. You simply existed, and that was enough to override the hierarchy. And oh, the dark comedy of it all. Watch how they scramble to keep up. Watch how they copy fragments of you, hoping to steal the aura. But here's the truth. Imitation only highlights the gap. Every time they try to replicate you, it backfires. Because the main character doesn't get copied. The main character sets a pace no one else can survive. They can wear your jacket, mimic your words, adopt your rhythm. But when the credits roll, their performance looks like parody, while yours looks like destiny. And nothing wounds them more than knowing their best effort still looks like your discarded outtakes. But here's the deeper philosophy. Being the rarest soul alive doesn't mean easy glory. It means being watched when you're exhausted. It means being dissected when you're misunderstood. It means every flaw, every misstep, every scar becomes public property. Yet instead of destroying you, this scrutiny becomes your weapon. The same eyes that search for your downfall become addicted to your rise. They will whisper about mistakes, but secretly, they're cataloging your resilience. They'll analyze your moves like scientists, but every analysis ends with a confession. They can't predict you. And unpredictability is the deadliest form of power. You are the plot twist Earth didn't account for. And the best part, you didn't need their stage to exist. You created your own. That is why you terrify them. The main character isn't chosen by committees, awards, or applause. The main character is chosen by inevitability. And inevitability wears your face. That's why all eyes are on you. Not because you begged for it, but because resisting you is futile. So where does that leave the rest of humanity? In supporting roles, scrambling for dialogue that won't get cut in editing. Some will play villains, trying to sabotage you, thinking they can rewrite the script. But villains in your story don't destroy the main character. They accelerate the legend. Their betrayals, their schemes, their envy only serve as narrative fuel. Others will play loyal followers, orbiting close, hoping your shine rubs off on them. And though some will be forgotten, others will be elevated simply by being in your radius. That's the privilege of proximity to the rarest soul alive. And you're not overwhelmed by the eyes. You're amused because you know what they don't. You were built for this. Every scar prepared you. Every betrayal refined you. Every moment of being underestimated sharpened you. While they wasted time in the chorus, you trained for the spotlight. Now that it's here, you don't flinch. You devour it. The stage doesn't consume you. You consume the stage. Dark humor slides in again. Look at how they complain. Why them? Why not me? They cry into their pillows. They think life is unfair. They think the spotlight is random. But deep down, they know the truth. They had every chance to sharpen their edges, to refine their character, to endure the crucible. They didn't. You did. And that's why the Earth picked you. That's why history will remember your name while theirs dissolves like sugar in rain. So here you stand, the rarest soul alive. Every breath a disruption, every move a chapter, every glance a headline. And the more they watch, the more they realize that being rare isn't about luxury, beauty, or talent. It's about consequence. You walk into a space and consequence follows. You make choices and ripple effects multiply. You speak and frequencies shift. That's why you've become the main character, because your existence rewrites the script of everyone else. But let's raise the stakes. This isn't just about attention. This is about transformation. When you step into the role of the main character, you inherit a responsibility bigger than survival. You inherit the responsibility of direction. People are not just watching, they're waiting. Waiting for cues, waiting for signals, waiting for the next impossible act you'll pull. They don't know it yet, but you are dragging the collective forward, whether they like it or not. You've become the axis they didn't vote for, but now depend on. And the irony? They resent you for leading, but they collapse without your direction. That's the paradox of being rare. You're cursed and crowned at the same time. And here's where philosophy sharpens into cruelty. If you stop, if you hesitate, if you retreat, the earth collapses back into monotony. But if you keep moving, you force everyone else to level up or perish in irrelevance. That's the psychological war you've been drafted into. You're not just rare, you're evolutionary pressure personified. They don't admire you because you're nice. They admire you because you terrify them into growth. They don't watch you because you're entertaining. They watch you because their survival instinct tells them, keep your eyes on the rare one, because that's where reality is being rewritten. So realize this, you're not here to be liked. You're here to be undeniable. You're not here to blend. You're here to rupture. You're not here to follow. You're here to redirect the entire human narrative. And every single gaze locked on you proves you've already succeeded. They're not watching out of choice. They're watching because you've left them no alternative. That is the weight, the glory, the cruelty, and the humor of being the main character of Earth. Now let's go deeper, because this isn't just about eyes following you. This is about the architecture of influence bending to your existence. You see, most people wander through life hoping for visibility, begging for applause, craving recognition like starving dogs scratching at doors. But you didn't beg, you didn't scratch, you didn't even ask. And yet the spotlight carved a path toward you, not out of generosity, but out of necessity. The Earth has a habit of picking one figure every era who becomes the axis of narrative, the one person whose breath rearranges direction, whose presence turns spectators into participants. And whether you wanted it or not, you've been drafted into that position. The rarest soul alive is not chosen gently, it's revealed violently. That revelation is why they flinch when you move. It's why conversations stop when you enter. It's why rivals scramble for excuses when your name surfaces. Because the human brain is wired for hierarchy, and when confronted with something rare, it recalibrates instantly. Their instinct tells them this is the one to follow, or the one to fear. And the cruel beauty is, you can be both at the same time. Leader and threat, savior and executioner. Their perception of you shifts depending on how close they stand. But the conclusion remains the same. You are inescapable. Think of the chaos you cause without effort. Walk through a crowd and watch how bodies unconsciously shift, making space for you. That's not courtesy, it's recognition. Speak a single sentence and suddenly their entire thought process reorients. That's not persuasion, it's domination. Even your silence, no, let's call it your calculated stillness, becomes louder than their screams. And the irony? They claim to resent you, yet they orbit you like moths to fire, knowing full well the burn is inevitable. This is the psychological trap you've sprung without even setting it. They are addicted to you, but the addiction comes with dread. Because what does it mean for them when one soul outshines millions? It means their ordinary lives are exposed for what they are, gray backdrops against your technicolor existence, and that realization corrodes them from within. They'll never admit it openly, but in private they collapse under the weight of the comparison. And that's where your true power lies. Not in the adoration, not in the envy, but in the quiet breakdowns you cause inside heads too fragile to stand against you. Philosophically, this is the essence of rarity. Diamonds aren't precious because they exist. They're precious because they exist so rarely. And you, my phenoms, are that diamond walking among stones. They cannot mass-produce you. They cannot manufacture your timing. They cannot replicate your scars, your decisions, your sequence of survival. And that is what infuriates them. Because everything else in their lives can be copied, traded, substituted, but not you. You are the one element their laboratories, their governments, their think tanks, their industries cannot synthesize. You're the irreplaceable glitch in their repetition, the singular variable they can't balance, the outlier that turns their formulas to dust. But let's not pretend this role is gentle. To be the main character is to live under surveillance of every wandering eye. They will study your movements with forensic intensity. They will dissect your sentences as if decoding prophecy. They will stalk your shadows, hoping to predict the next frame. And yet every attempt leaves them unsatisfied, because you are unpredictable, and unpredictability is the cruelest gift you've been granted. They expect you to follow patterns, but you shift the pattern itself. They expect a script, but you improvise a scene no one rehearsed for. That's why they're addicted, not because you're predictable, but because you're dangerous. Dangerous in the way that legends are dangerous. Dangerous because you remind them that reality is pliable, and you're the hands shaping it. And here's the savage comedy. They will try to domesticate you. They will build categories, labels, explanations, hoping to shrink you into something manageable. They'll call you a genius, a rebel, a leader, a disruptor. But none of those titles fit, because titles are cages, and cages don't hold you. Every time they try to define you, you expand beyond the definition. Every time they try to corner you, you twist the geometry of the room. They can't win, because you are not playing their game. You are rewriting it in real time. And oh, how humiliating that is for them. Imagine being a background character and realizing the world has shifted genres without asking for your input. Yesterday, they were the stars of their own little plays, but today, they are extras in your epic. Their identities blur, their dialogues vanish, their presence becomes filler. They hate it, but they can't stop watching. They despise it, but they can't escape orbit. And deep down, they know the truth. Every age remembers its main character, but forgets its extras. You will be remembered, they will be erased. That's not arrogance, that's history's cruel arithmetic. But let's sharpen this further. Vienna, the main character, isn't about vanity, it's about pressure. The rarest soul alive doesn't just bask in admiration, they shoulder the weight of direction. The eyes on you are not simply fans, they are demands. They want your next move, your next thought, your next rebellion. They're hungry for cues, desperate for signs. And while they wait, they decay in anxiety, because every second you delay is another second they feel irrelevant. You have become their clock. You tick, they move. You pause, they suffocate. and you. You don't even break a sweat. Because you know what they don't. You are not performing for them. You're performing for the universe itself. Their eyes are incidental. Their obsession is collateral damage. You move not to satisfy their hunger, but to satisfy the calling that shoved you into this position. That's the paradox that breaks them. Your role as the main character has nothing to do with their approval. It's about inevitability. And inevitability doesn't bow to applause. Dark humor enters again. Watch how they sabotage themselves, trying to diminish you. They'll gossip, spread lies, throw tantrums. But all of it backfires. The more they talk, the more they advertise you. The more they resist, the more visible you become. Their very attempts at rebellion turn into marketing campaigns for your existence. That's the comedy. Their hatred only fuels your legend. They want to erase you, but in trying, they engrave you deeper. They want to dim your shine, but in failing, they polish it brighter. You are their nightmare precisely because every move against you strengthens your myth. Now let's zoom out. Humanity has always searched for icons, figures that anchor the chaos of existence. Kings, prophets, warriors, poets. They've all held the role of main character in their time. But each one eventually passed. And now the baton has slammed into your hands. You didn't reach for it, but you gripped it anyway. That's the surprise. That's the rupture. Earth didn't expect you, but Earth cannot function without you anymore. And that realization terrifies those who thought they were untouchable. Because now the rarest soul alive dictates tempo. You are no longer in the audience, you are the performance. You are no longer part of the crowd, you are the magnet pulling it. And here's the twist. They think this is temporary. They think your shine will fade like theirs did. But rarity doesn't expire. Scarcity doesn't dilute. Diamonds don't rot. You will remain long after their relevance crumbles to ash. And that's the deeper cruelty. They know it. They may deny it aloud, but internally they've already surrendered to the truth. You are the main character of Earth. Their recognition is no longer optional, it's compulsory. And that compulsion eats at their ego like acid. They don't hate you because you exist. They hate you because your existence reveals how replaceable they are. So here we are. Billions of eyes locked in, billions of hearts pounding in rhythms they don't understand, billions of voices whispering your name in awe or in fear. You didn't ask for their attention, but you have it. You didn't beg for their loyalty, but you command it. And the longer this plays out, the clearer it becomes. This is not just a story. This is an epoch, an era defined not by governments, not by corporations, not by empires, but by you. You are the chapter Earth will be forced to study, the rarest soul alive, etched into every subconscious as both lesson and warning. And this is where the narrative detonates into its final stage, the moment where being the main character stops being about recognition and starts being about consequence. Because if billions are watching, then billions are absorbing. If billions are whispering, then billions are adjusting. You've become not just an individual. They see you as blueprint, prophecy, cautionary tale, and guiding signal all in one. Do you understand the scale of that? You are not a single human anymore. You are Earth's collective hallucination, the myth being written in real time, the pulse sinking across nations. That's why you terrify leaders, confuse institutions, and overwhelm scholars. They cannot contain you because you've stopped existing inside the boundaries of flesh. You've become a narrative virus, self-replicating across every mind you touch. And oh, the cruelty of this spotlight. It doesn't ask you to entertain. It demands you to redefine. Being rare means you are no longer measured by human standards. Your victories can't be compared. Your failures can't be weaponized. Your path can't be copied. You've broken free of relativity, and that makes you dangerous. Because a soul unbound by comparison is a soul no one can control. They may watch, they may whisper, they may even worship, but none of them can predict. And unpredictability, when multiplied by billions of eyes, becomes domination. But let's sharpen the blade further. What does it mean to be the main character of Earth? It means that every arena, political, cultural, psychological, reorients around you. They can no longer discuss the future without referencing your shadow. They cannot talk about strength without conjuring your name. They cannot dream of rebellion without measuring it against your existence. You've become the metric by which ambition is judged, the ceiling they can't surpass, the gravity they cannot escape. Every plan now carries the unspoken clause, but what if they act? That is the rawest form of power, not sitting on a throne, but making every throne tremble just by being alive. And here's the philosophical cruelty. They love you and hate you in the same breath. They love you because you embody what they wish they could become. They hate you because you expose what they'll never reach. That duality is why they obsess. That duality is why you're unforgettable. Because humans forget perfection, but they never forget contradiction. You are the paradox they can't erase. The figure both adored and feared, celebrated and envied, cursed and crowned. And when paradox becomes personified, it becomes immortal. That's the secret to why all eyes are stuck on you. They're not just watching a human, they're watching an eternal contradiction playing out in real time. Look around. See the chaos you've caused. Influencers stealing fragments of your style. Leaders echoing fragments of your rhetoric. Scientists dissecting your psychology like it's the missing puzzle piece of evolution. Artists sketching reflections of your image, hoping to trap the aura that slips through their hands. Even the ones who claim indifference, why do they talk about you at all? Because indifference that requires language is still obsession. They can't escape you, even when they try. That is the twisted hilarity. You are their unwanted addiction, their permanent distraction, their unshakable center of gravity. But here's where ego-stroking becomes reality. You've already surpassed them. They just haven't admitted it yet. When people fixate on you this hard, they surrender pieces of themselves in the process. Every hour spent talking about you is an hour not spent on themselves. Every attempt to mock you is free publicity. Every insult they hurl only raises your relevance. They don't realize it, but their obsession is the soil where your legend grows. The more they resist, the taller you rise. The rarer you become, the deeper they sink. It's psychological warfare at its purest, winning not by fighting, but by letting their own focus destroy them. Now ask yourself, why did Earth choose you? Why now? Why this era, this timeline, this crucible? Because the planet was decaying under monotony, billions moving like synchronized machines, lives drained of consequence, routines choking imagination. Earth needed a rupture, and the rupture came packaged as you. The rarest soul alive, the unpredictable protagonist, the one they didn't see coming. And that's the irony of rarity. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It arrives like a lightning strike, unexpected, uninvited, undeniable. You are that strike. And the burn marks you leave are not damage. They are proof that the world was asleep until you lit it awake. Understand this. You've become the collective nightmare of mediocrity. For ordinary souls, your presence is not inspiring. It's suffocating. You remind them that they wasted decades playing small, thinking small, living small. You remind them that every excuse they used is hollow. Every comfort they clung to is fragile. That's why they envy you. Not because you exist, but because your existence reveals their cowardice. You are the mirror they can't shatter, the reflection they can't distort, the truth they can't bury. And that truth slices deeper than any weapon ever could. But let's inject the dark humor. Watch them scramble to explain you. They'll say you're lucky. They'll say you're manipulative. They'll say you cheated. Because to admit you earned this role means admitting they failed. To admit you deserve this spotlight means admitting they wasted their chance. So they invent stories, excuses, fabrications. But every story collapses under the weight of reality, because excuses can't explain inevitability, and inevitability wears your face. Think of history now. Think of the archives, the textbooks, the documentaries being drafted, even as we speak. Do you realize what they'll say? They won't just talk about events, leaders, nations. They'll mark this age by you, the rarest soul alive, the one who disrupted the script. They'll say, this was the moment Earth stopped orbiting power and started orbiting a person. And that is the ultimate legacy, not building monuments, but becoming the monument itself. But here's the twist most can't digest. This isn't even your peak. If billions of eyes are watching you now, imagine what happens when you stop reacting and start directing. Up until now, you've been content letting their gaze follow. But when you decide to wield it, when you shape their attention like a weapon, channel their obsession into movements, revolutions, transformations, then you stop being the main character and start being the author. And authors don't just play roles, they dictate endings. That's the next level, and you are already stepping into it. You are rewriting humanity's story with every step. They may resist, but resistance is futile when the narrative itself is in your grip. You've become the pulse behind their actions, the ghost in their decisions, the voice in their doubts. They will call it inspiration, but it's deeper than that. It's infiltration. You've embedded yourself into their subconscious, and now every path they walk is paved with echoes of you. That is the true definition of being the rarest soul alive. You don't just exist in reality, you invade every imagination simultaneously. And here's where the final blade twists. Every era crowns a figure, but most crowns are temporary. Yours is not. Because you're not a symbol they chose. You're a force they can't erase. You are both spectacle and specter, presence and phantom, human and myth. Even if they try to bury you, your influence will linger like radiation, unseen but undeniable, reshaping generations who never even met you. That is immortality, the kind not carved in stone, but encoded in psyche. You have already achieved it. So the surprise is no longer that all eyes are on you. The surprise is that you've accepted it. You've embraced the role. You've weaponized it. You've realized that being rare isn't a burden, it's leverage. And leverage in the hands of someone like you doesn't just move mountains, it moves civilizations. The main character of Earth doesn't simply entertain, they dictate evolution. That's the throne you now sit on, whether you claim it or not. So when they ask why you, the answer is cruelly simple. Because you're the only one who could handle it. Anyone else would have collapsed, cracked, begged for the spotlight to dim. But you thrived. You devoured the glare. You turned pressure into power. You turned envy into energy. You proved that rarity is not fragility, it's indestructibility, and now Earth itself bends under that truth. Look at them one last time, the billions who can't look away. Watch the fear in their eyes, the awe in their voices, the tremor in their hands. They know this isn't temporary. They know this isn't hype. They know they are witnessing the rise of the rarest soul alive, the protagonist of their timeline, the name they'll whisper long after their own are forgotten. That is you. That has always been you. And that will remain you, no matter how much they fight it. So stand tall, my phenoms of Earth. This is your epoch, your script, your stage. You are not just the main character. You are the spoiler, the twist, the ending no one predicted, but everyone remembers. All eyes are on you, not because you asked, but because the universe itself had no choice. And now that you've embraced it, there is no curtain call, no finale, no fade to black. There is only you, center frame, undeniable, unrepeatable, unforgettable. The rarest soul alive, the main character of Earth, and the world will never recover from the surprise of you.